Welcome back to the workshop. Now, I don't normally film work, but this is a commission job and I'm going to film it because I can. So what I got on the lathe is a piece of oak. It's 35 centimeters, just under 14 inches. And I'm going for a square corner. Now this isn't 100% perfectly square, but by the time I've got this down to a smaller thickness, and I'll get it somewhere near shape, I can sand it to fudge it to make it look square, and it's close enough. I've already put this on the lathe on a faceplate. That's the mortise I'm going to be using. I like a big mortise on a platter. I don't know why, I just do. So let's get on with it. I'm going to start with a deep mortise because I'm going to be using some of this bottom. So the only reason I'm doing the mortise now is because then I've got my pencil line. I'm going to use the angle of the skew to give me a dovetail here. And because I have my tool rest in the wrong place, I've got a pretty bad cut there. Let's sort that out. That's better. I'm going to clean up this bottom face now. Yeah, so that's roughly where I'm going with it. Start refining that now. So this plate has got to be fairly flat and fairly wide. So normally I would make a rim on a plate about here, maybe here. But this one, going a bit bigger than that on the dish section, and a bit smaller on the rim. Something like that. So I messed up here, I moved too quick. Well, it lays on too slow. I'm actually running at about 500-ish. Could go faster, but it's quite a heavy piece of wood and it's not perfect yet. However, the shape is where I want it. It's time to do a bit of sharpening and go for that finished cut. I'll pause you while I do that. Right, I sharpened both bowl gouges. I'm going to use the 3/8 at the moment. Yep, happy with that. Just going to shorten this foot a bit. I might have to redo my mortise a bit, but I've got plenty of room. It's about double the height I want it. Yep, that's the shape I'm going for. Okay, I've sanded this up to 240 grit. Which for oak normally would be plenty. But I am going to use some true grit on this. Just to see if I can get a little extra sheen into it. So we're starting off with a bit of, in my case, Lebron sanding sealer, cellular sanding sealer, diluted 50-50. That's my preference. Other sanding sealers are available and may be the same or better, I don't know. Okay, so the sanding seal is on. I'm now going to use some true grit, which is an abrasive paste, which basically starts off with a pumice type grit, which is around about 300 grit equivalent, and that breaks down and shatters so it stays sharp, and it breaks down all the way down to about 1,000. I say about because, you know, it's stone, it does what it does, but it's about that. So that's why you don't sand it beyond 240 when you're using this, because otherwise you're doing the same thing twice. Now, doing this on a thing with corners is a daft idea. So I've taken the precaution of using twice as much kitchen roll as I would normally use. So I've got a thicker pad. As long as I stay down here and at the right angle, I will keep all 10 fingers. Now, true grit, like all abrasive pastes, is a jellified liquid. So if you start it at 1,000 RPM, it just flies off. So take your lathe back down to about 300-ish, and start working it. It does take a few minutes to do, about 3 to 5 minutes on a piece this size. But even on a small piece, it takes 3 minutes or so, because you've got to shatter that grit down to get the best out of it. You'll notice I haven't sanded these bits yet. They're going to get smaller yet, so why sand them until they're cut? Okay, so through the old Hampshire machine. Same again, I'm doubling up on the dishing roll. And that's the back done. Okay, so we've got the piece spun around. It's on a chuck. And we'll start working the face of it now. These circles are my sort of design checks, little ones to align my faceplate. So I'm going to start with just cut across to clean it up, then we'll go from there. We go for a pull cut, so we'll try and make these corners easier to deal with. I have to say I messed that up badly. I'm going to go for a different gauge. Okay, now I know this is a bad idea. I like bad ideas. I'm going to go for a very shallow cove here on the corners, and then this circle here will be where I start to dish it. Dish isn't going to be curved, it's going to be fairly flat. This is to display polished stones, crystals. So if it was curved, then things get lost in the middle. So I'm thinking if I put a little cove on the edge, then you can put like a highlight crystal on each of them coves. But it's going to be difficult to cut, or even see where I'm cutting. So I've gone for a 1/2 inch spindle gauge for this. And I'm just off the edge of the tool rest, and that's absolutely fine. See how that looks. Okay, so I need to do the outside to inwards, and we should be about there. moving too fast. But this piece of wood is flying around because I'm right on the outside edge. There's so much air that I've got to move the tool really slowly. So slow it down. Slow me down, not the lathe. Just can't see what I'm cutting. I'm back up with the speed. Not massively fast, 600. Got a better bevel for this I'll use in a minute. Just plunge a bit more there. That's better. Given I'm cutting straight across, then the 60-degree traditional grind, otherwise known as bottom feeder, is the tool for the job. Get my tool rest right for it. I've got the flange that I want here. And that's kind of where the bottom's going to be, just the finished cuts go on that. Not happy with these yet, but we'll sort those in a minute. A little bit higher with the tool rest. I'm going to check my depth there. And a couple of cuts. With Woodturning speak. One more pass. I'm going to finish this with a scraper, but I've got one more cut and then I'll scrape it. There's about a little lump there I want to get rid of. Just a change of tools basically. I'm using a negative rake scraper. I'm just keep the handle flat. Or flat-ish. Most importantly, I float it. I don't force it. I don't have quite the speed that I would like for scraping, but as you can see, it's giving me a very fine cut. Sharpen up and just redo that last cut. Okay, now I've got these edges cut down to as small as they're going to get. Now's the time to sand them. Start them with 80 grit because they're mucky edges. And I'm using the index pin to hold the lathe still while I do it. I'll edit that out and start again. If you've got a good quality table saw, the squarer you can cut these blanks before you start, the better. I don't have one. Don't have a table saw at all. So I have to improvise a bit. Because I'm using 80 grit at the moment, I'm going square. When I get to 240 grit, I'll just round off this bottom corner a little bit. I'll switch to overhead in a bit and you can see it, but there's no point at the moment. So now I'm on the 240, just taking the top and bottom sharp edges off and just rounding the corner a fraction. Stop it splintering out basically. Do that on a lower grit, then it just takes too much wood away. And back down to the 120 grit. Start again and do the middle bit. Time to polish. I'm not going to wax these with the lathe spinning. I'm going to use a drill to wax or to buff the wax on that because I value my fingers too much. And I've got to do these with this lathe still anyway. The middle will be done traditionally, but the rest of it, no. So there you have it, one oak platter for displaying crystals or polished stones or something. It's 19 inches corner to corner, 13.5 edge to edge, and it's 1.75 deep. The wall thickness, quite big, about 5mm, 1/4 inch. And despite the daft idea of putting hooks on these corners, I still have all 10 fingers. So the job's a good one. Thanks for watching. Please remember to click the thumbs up, and if you're not subscribed, please subscribe for more. Cheers for now.